The romanticised idea of the professional artist in this perfect studio is kind of an old idea, and so here's why it might actually be holding you back. You see, there's this big misconception that real artists have big studios with all the wall space and extravagant lighting setups. And don't get me wrong, I actually love being in the studio myself. However, the reality is, all of these facilities don't define that creative flair that was inside you. That kind of flair that made you want to pick up the paintbrush in the first place. And often we tell ourselves, you know what, I'll wait until I have the perfect setup, the perfect space, with extravagant lighting, a big warehouse where I can paint like Jackson Pollock. And the problem here is we're already setting ourselves up for failure through procrastination by unknowingly waiting on a set of circumstances that won't ever truly exist. And now maybe we've been conditioned through art school and social media that the professional artist has to have this aesthetic perfect setup. And let me tell you, I've experienced having that big open space with great lighting and all the ideas that I could throw into it in the world. But as life changes, so does our environments. And what I found now is that the perfect studio space doesn't exist, because you come to find that this perfect place and the perfect setup, all the inspiration is really inside of you. And I had this stress after I left the space, as I couldn't paint big anymore. My practice was going to be reduced to a tiny little sketchbook. But this was the very turning point that could push my work in the right direction. You see, some qualities of good artists is their ability to be adaptable through creativity. And what I mean by this is being able to adapt to changes which allow your work to flourish. And now this happens with a greater level of experimentation, usually the things outside of your comfort zone. And in the case of my biggest artist inspiration, and one of the greater artists, JMW Turner, I used to believe that he had the perfect life, the perfect setup, with the 9 to 5 studio day, where he produced some of the most beautiful works that we can find today in Tate Britain, those massive, large oil painting canvases. But little did I know about his 37,000 sketches that are actually produced by him. And with that kind of creative output, those numbers, that doesn't really show someone that waits for the perfect set of circumstances, because in reality, that number just wouldn't be so big, as well as including his extensive travel, where he wouldn't have been able to be at an easel in a well-lit studio. So this actually tells us that great artists don't wait around for the perfect circumstances. They adapt by moving through their environments and their challenges, even by experimenting with different media. Because what really makes an artist is just someone that keeps on making things anywhere. And what this shows us is that it's not the space, it's the consistency. It's not the setup, it's the practice, and it's not the aesthetics, it's the output. So now this brings me to the next step in the video, where I'm going to try and explain how as an artist you'd make artwork without a studio. Now the last time I had any sort of studio space was maybe over a month ago now. And actually I've still been able to find a really productive routine, even with the challenges presented. And I've opened up a lot more now to watercolour medium due to how easy it is to take with you on the road travelling. And to be honest, at first I was kind of a bit discouraged, thinking it was kind of an inferior medium to the wonderful use of oils that I was so used to. Now what I actually realised is the potential of the medium and the skills that I inadvertently ended up developing using this medium more and more. But how did I actually get any work done without a dedicated workspace? And the truth is, I always find myself improvising, whether that be the challenges with the lighting setup or trying to create an easel from everyday objects, and even working in the great outdoors. So I found this one really cool method where I could use a hotel towel and a chair, and I could set that up as a support for my painting methods. But now I found no end of inspiration worth finding a different mode. And this is a nice zone to be in, a zone where I'm more focused on the act of doing and creating and being a part of the process, rather than worrying so much about the outcome of a single workpiece or a single canvas. So now this has become an entirely freeing experience where my sketchbook is a great place for trial and error. And this brings me along to some of those challenges that I actually faced not having a studio. Now the process hasn't been straightforward, but it's definitely been worth it. And if anything, it really strengthens your resolve as an artist and opens up a whole ton of ideas. So the main challenge really for me has still been the logistics of still actually travelling. And that's still really speaking from a place of privilege, because traveling is still something out of the question for most people. And with the privileges that luxury brings, it also brings a new challenge to your daily routine and your found regiments. And now this is almost a true test of when things are no longer in your comfort zone, how do you operate? And for me, I found that the biggest revelation is that once you overcome this step, you do ultimately become unstoppable. And in a way, it becomes almost like relearning how to create them good habits again. Because the things that were once easy and comfortable to you soon become hard and difficult. Now, what was my solution for all of this? And the simple key is just to make it simple. And because I'm still traveling, I've kind of been forced to do this anyway. So, with the logistics of things, I had to really be selective and decide what I was going to take with me and what I was going to leave behind. Now, this actually worked really well in my favour because it sort of simplified down what I truly needed and got down to the essentials of my craft. And I actually found that I got better at the simpler things. So maybe breaking things down is actually what I needed in order to move in the right direction. So another big challenge myself and many other artists might face is not being able to take all them tech gadgets with you, your iPad, the projector, those lighting setups that you so heavily rely on. And in turn, again, this actually upgraded my art skills and my true craft, and didn't allow anything to get in the way or dilute the raw process of creativity by relying less and less on them luxury tools and items that somehow just end up getting in the way. And through this also, I've majorly upgraded my drawing skills, not relying so much on photography and really working more from life and observing more from life. All simply as a byproduct of not having access to a studio space. So, when we acknowledge the reality of the situation, yes, it is nice to have a studio and it's kind of idyllic sometimes for the professional, serious artist. And what I will say is some practices do benefit from having a lot of space. But I think my main argument for this video's sake is having a studio is more of a luxury. And if, like most people, you don't always have access to the space or time, you can feel like there's a really big barrier stopping you from your true creative potential. And the main takeaway really here is I think anyone, anywhere can just get started no matter what the time is with whatever access to the tools they have. And this could even be as simple as pencil and paper, which in my opinion not only are the most accessible but also the key fundamentals for any artist. So really I guess my bigger message for today is no matter what your studio looks like or lack thereof, this really doesn't define your identity as an artist or undermines any seriousness, because ultimately waiting for perfect conditions equals procrastination, because creativity really thrives under constraints and your environment doesn't define your identity. So create something today wherever you are, with whatever you have, and don't let the lack of a dedicated art space stop you. Also, what's really interesting, guys, is let me know what your ideal art setup looks like, and let me know what you've had to go through in order to make things work. And if you made it this far, thank you so much, guys, for watching. And make sure to subscribe so I can make more content like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.